Yes, you read that right. Bronzong and Trapinch in Regulation H. And you may think, this is insanity, but let's see how they play off. Of course it's a Trick Room team. My opponent is gonna lead Incineroar Among Us, I'm gonna lead Farigiraf Incineroar. I absolutely love Farigiraf, by the way. Our opponent forgot that Farigiraf stops fake outs, so I'm just gonna Flare Blitz into Among Us. They try to sport, but I'm safety goggles. Trick Room is up, and our opponent switches out Incineroar through Parting Shot, and Tyranitar enters onto the battlefield. I use Psychic onto Among Us, I Parting Shot onto the Incineroar, and the star of the show is here. But Farigiraf is going to Terrestrialize into Flying type. This is because goodbye Tyranitar. Yeah, Intimidate useless. Hypercut their choice band. Yeah, the strategy is basically using Earthquake. Look at Incineroar. Goodbye, wee! Yes, Farigiraf helping against, and is a flying type, so it's immune to the Earthquake. So it's basically a perfect combo. You cannot even Grassy Glide with Rillaboom. You're just done. We got in with Incineroar back in, we intimidated the Garchomp, and we got Trick Room back in. We Psychic onto the Garchomp, we Parting Shot into this Garchomp again, and Bronzong gets on the field that has Levitate. It has Levitate, and you will soon see why it doesn't have Fireproof. To the next replay, we are against a very weird team. This team was a bit of a pickle to deal with, but we lead with the usual Farigiraf Incineroar. The list is closed, so I didn't know this Ninetales was Cover Cloak. It makes sense, but I usually think of Ninetales with the Light Clay. We get Bronzong in. Ninetales can't really damage our Bronzong, but that Typhlosion is kind of a danger to our Steel type fella. So we gotta play a bit more defensively. I Psychic the Typhlosion in hopes to reduce the power of an eventual eruption. He goes for Lava Plume for some reason. Okay. Trapinch gets in. I'm gonna use another move, which is Rock Slide. I'm not gonna Earthquake my own Incineroar. Their Typhlosion flinches. I still spam Rock Slide through the Aurora Veil. It's still pretty decent damage. Also, Trapinch is so slow that it doesn't really matter that it's not doing damage. With Rock Slide, you can flinch under Trick Room. But now we got Mienshao and Bronzong on the field newly. That Baxcalibur is pretty much useless at this point, so Ninetales is gonna switch in. They fake out my Bronzong, I fake out the Mienshao in hopes to break a focus session. Maybe they didn't wanna use fake out. They go Horavel, they go Coaching. Okay, I Flare Blitz the Mienshao, they survive thanks to the Veil, and Trick Room is back up. And now you can see why this is not Fireproof. I don't need Fireproof to be better against fire types in a defensive manner. I can just, Iron Defense and Terrestrialize in a defensive typing. But yeah, I'm gonna spam Parting Shot onto that Ninetales, which is the biggest danger since it's a special attacker. Thanks to the Veil, Baxcalibur still survives, but the damage is quite there. This Bronzong is virtually invincible at this point. At this point, I just go Body Press onto everyone. The Baxcalibur is just going to struggle, not even critical hits can save it. Moonblast 6%, it's -2, so it's not gonna do anything, like it's literally a leftovers recovery. Those Icicle Spear stats start critting, but as you can see, the critical hit is just 10. So yeah, now we have basically won. This Baxcalibur can't really do anything. Even critting all the Icicle Spears cannot take down our Bronzong, and our Bronzong is the winner. The next replay is against another Trick Room team with Porygon, Flamigo, Snorlax, kinda usual, if I may. The Porygon is gonna download and switch for this Snorlax. The Flamigo protects, which is fine. I'm still gonna get Trick Room in. I'm not too worried about Torkoal and Snorlax being in Trick Room because Trapinch is just so slow. It has a very low speed stat you're gonna see later. The opponent belly drums, which is not ideal. It's actually kinda risky. I put it at +5, but I got a hope for Trapinch. Can this little fella destroy the big guy? Helping Hand, Terra Flying, Earthquake. Yep, the little fella defeated the big fella. This is David against Goliath all over again, guys. So we can just spam Earthquake. This Porygon 2 is kind of a pickle, but yeah, I'm not too scared about the Porygon as much as I am scared of that Flamigo. Farigiraf resists miraculously, because this means we can get another Trick Room off. And they just forfeit, because at this point I can just attack with Farigiraf, take Trapinch in, and it's it's just absolutely amazing. The last replay is against a very weird team. As I saw Golem, I immediately thought because that they wanted to do explosion stuff, because Golem doesn't really have a way. Yeah, there we go. A way to do anything if not exploding with Electrify, turning normal type moves into electric type moves, but doesn't really matter. This interaction was quite peculiar. They used Copycat to copy my Psychic, but since it was done thanks to a Prankster move, they lost the move to the Armor Tail, which was quite peculiar. I switch in Bronzong, Earthquake. This is another reason why Bronzong is here and does Levitate. It's just immune to the Earthquakes, just in case I cannot get Farigiraf in. So, these were the replays. Let's go to the team. The team is as follows. You can see this Farigiraf is Terra Flying with Helping Hand, Psychic, Trick Room, Safety Goggles, Armor Tail, built pretty bulky. I leave the past in the description. This is basically thought as a big support with some damage capabilities, because, you know, the special attack for Farigiraf is not too shabby. It's 110, and it's decently bulky, so I built it to be as bulky as possible. Terra Flying to be immune and to combo well with the Helping Hand Earthquake of our choice band Trapinch. Why Trapinch? Well, although it has 10 speed, which makes it possibly the slowest Pokemon ever, and absolute abysmal defensive stats, for some Arceus forgiven reason has 100 attack. Not even Vibrava has 100 attack, but for some reason this little fella has 100 attack, because it just comes back as with Flygon. It's a mess. So yeah, this is the move pool. Earthquake, of course, solid ground type stab with Flying Farigiraf and Levitate Bronzong. It's just perfect, especially since both of them have Helping Hand and Trick Room, so they can set up. Helping Hand is quite important, because as much as I'm trying to sell little Trapinch here, 167 attack is still in need of some help, but it makes for a funny interaction. So yeah, it's pretty hilarious. Rock Slide, of course, because why not? You can choose to run Gravity on either these two, and at this point you can run some Flying type on Bronzong too. So despite the Gravity, they can possibly be immune to ground type moves. So you can still eat Flying types with Earthquake. But I gave it Rock Slide, even because if Bronzong wants to set up a body press, you can still try and flinch your opponent. It's still a pretty good move. Crunch for coverage and Terra Blast Fire. This way You cannot intimidate this Pokemon. You cannot burn this Pokemon. Paralyzing this Pokemon is not only difficult because it's a natural ground type, but it's also quite useless. Why would you? You wanna opt to hold some paralysis on under Trick Room, okay? But I don't suggest that. We have Incineroar, classic Orbo Incineroar, very bulky, decently offensive, but mostly bulky. Bronzong, I'm just running actually the copy paste as a mistake here. There we go. Mean speed, mean attack to avoid foul plays, max HP, max special defense to compensate, and then you just pump his defense with iron defense and just spam body press, trick room, helping hand as you wish. We have Among Us for support. Unfortunately, both Leftovers and Citrus Berry are locked, but Rocky Helmet is still a decently viable option. It's a cheap damage. Urshifu is not here, so it kinda loses value, but you can't really give Among Us other items, maybe some berries, but I felt like Rocky Helmet for the households around can still be pretty good. Usual Among Us, Spore, Rage Powder, Clear Smoke, Pollen Puff, and then we have Dragapult. This Dragapult is here mostly for a speedy option that may come out as useful. Maybe you lead Dragapult Incineroar or Dragapult Among Us to support the Dragapult and start spamming Dragon Darts, or if the opponent doesn't really suffer from Incineroar or Among Us, you can just lead with Dragapult and start doing some chief damage, and under Trick Room you're gonna U-turn last, so it's a safe switch nonetheless into Trapinch or Bronzong. Terra Dragon, of course, because you wanna power up Dragon Darts or Outrage in a pinch, it can be useful. But yeah, this is the team I came up with Trapinch and Bronzong. If you wanna go in a more serious tournament and not for fun, like this is a very fun and quirky team with Trapinch spamming Earthquakes, destroying Terranitar. But I feel like competitive players will probably take more inspiration from Bronzong, although I'd be really happy if Trapinch was to be brought in a big tournament again like Arashumati did a couple of years ago, because I feel like it has some potential for some quirky combos, some quirky shenanigans. It catches the opponent by surprise. It's a very fun Pokemon to play around, in my opinion. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed. Again, the copy paste is in the description below, and probably the pinned comment, I shall see. But that's it. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.